Hi guys, my name's Doug. I'm a member of the 3-person technical service team here at Task Force Tips. And in this video I'm going to show you how to replace a bail handle on a 1-inch G-force with a high pressure ball valve. For today's service we're going to need several things to complete the process. You're going to need a couple punches, a 4mm and a 2mm punch, a little bit of 100% silicone. We specifically use Dow 112 grease. Set of needle nose pliers, a pointed pick, a 3/16 Allen wrench, or a hex wrench, just a small hammer, a couple parts, potentially handle trunnions and a front valve seat, as well of course as a new bail handle, and then a drill motor, corded or cordless, either will work, and a number 22 drill bit. Now, the reason you might be replacing a bail handle, maybe it got ran over by the fire truck, maybe it just got damaged for whatever reason on the fire scene. These handles, these Zytel handles, are very resilient, so the chances of them getting damaged are pretty slim, but things do happen on the fire ground. To start this process, the first thing we're going to have to do is to remove the coupling. We showed you how to do this in a previous video, but we're going to do it here again as well. Using your pointed pick in the rubber port plug, just push that in there and just pull that port plug out. Set that aside for use later. Again, previously we talked about there's 26 ball bearings in this coupling, little 1/8 inch ball bearings. You're best to capture those in a container if you can, as opposed to hunting for those on the fire hall floor. Just position the port over the container and manipulate the coupling until all the ball bearings fall out. If these nozzles have been in service very long and you've got debris from previous fires in there, you may have to flush that port out with a little bit of acetone or something just to help get the dirt out and allow those ball bearings to roll out. Once all 26 ball bearings are out, the coupling will come straight off and you can pull the rear valve seat straight out. Put those aside in your container for use later. Okay, so next we're going to need to push out the roll pins that are on the inside of the valve. You'll want to do this with the valve handle in the open position. This is where we're going to use our 2mm punch. There's only one way for these things to go, and that's in, so they'll be captive inside the nozzle until we retrieve those a bit later. Just lightly tap those out. Pull your punch out. Next, now they're in the nozzle, so to get those out, we'll just move the nozzle to the flush position and those will drop out. The roll pins are typically reusable, so set those aside. Next, we'll need to push out the roll pins that engage the handle with the valve trunnions. To do this, we're going to use our 4mm punch. Again, keeping in mind, use a flat punch, not something pointed. Just lightly tap those out. Set those aside for later use. Now the handle is disengaged from the valve. The valve's no longer moving with the handle. Next, we'll want to get those trunnions out, and in order to do that, we'll just push them out, or at least help them out from the inside. Try to use something non-marring, metal-to-metal contact, a plastic rod or a wooden dowel. There's nothing worse than performing a service only to find out that you made it worse than before you started. So we want to avoid doing any damage while trying to remove these. So just inside there, kind of pry on those a little bit till they start to pop out. There, we've got them both started. Once you have those freed from the inside, you can grab them with your needle nose pliers and pull them out. In most cases, these are reusable. For the purposes of today's video, we're going to show you complete replacement of the trunnions. Set the handle aside. Okay, this is a good opportunity now that the handle's off to take the stainless steel ball out. It's a good time to inspect. Make sure that there's no calcium buildup on the ball itself. If there is, just using some Scotch-Brite, just lightly clean up any surface contamination that may be on there. The ball is of course reusable, so set that aside for use later. As long as we're this far in, although we're replacing the bail handle, it's also a good opportunity to go ahead and put a new front seat in. So we'll pull that out. We have another new one here to put back in its place. At this point in time, we're going to begin the reassembly. Again, we just talked about we're going to put a new valve seat in the front, put the new valve seat in so the convex is facing towards the ball. Just slide that in and push it all the way to the back of the nozzle. Next, we want to take our new trunnions, and on those trunnions there's an O-ring that seals the trunnion to the body of the valve. We want to put a little bit of grease on those O-rings to help them insert into the valve body as well to give the handle smooth action. So just a little bit of 100% silicone on those O-rings. Now next, after we do that, we want to put the valve ball in. The way the trunnions engage, there's a machine slot on either side of the ball valve that the trunnions engage. So we want to make sure that those slots are aligned with the holes in the valve body. They don't have to be perfect at this point. We'll make adjustments as we go. Now it's important when we do this that we keep the valve aligned with the waterway of the nozzle. So we're going to use this repair mandrel that helps hold that ball centered in the waterway in the open position, because when we put the new handle on, it will be in the open position as well when we finish the procedure. So insert the mandrel into the center of the ball. We can use that as well to help align the valve, or we can use the pointed pick as well to get that aligned. Next thing, when we put the new handle on, there's a right and wrong way to put the handle on. It'll go on either direction. The difference is one side is labeled off for water flow off, and then on for water flow on. So when the handle is in the off position, in the operator's position, you should be able to see the wording off. If you see on, then it's just off 180 degrees. Insert it the other way before we go much further. Once that's on, we're going to take a trunnion in each hole, and we're just going to get it started in there to help hold the handle in position. I like to get one in so that we can get that valve aligned properly. When we put that in, make sure that that slot, or the tongue that aligns that slot, is in the correct orientation, parallel to the waterway, so that we can engage the ball. There is some spring force on the ball pushing backwards on that front seat, so you may need to compress that. And here it's handy to use that 3/16 hex wrench to just kind of twist it until you get it to engage in the ball. You're flying a little bit blind when you do this, so you kind of got to look to see how the ball is aligned in the other hole. Once it's aligned properly, it should push in. And the same thing on the other side. Again, compress that ball a little bit so you can push that trunnion in. That one's all the way in. We'll finish this one off. Take that repair mandrel out so that you can make sure that those are inserted all the way. Once those are in all the way, you should be able to fully see the hole that is machined in there to receive the small roll pin. That'll tell you they're inserted fully. Now next, we're going to put those roll pins in. And again, just like when we were taking things apart, it's best to have this sitting on a rubber mat or a block of wood just to help protect components of the nozzle. Using some needle nose pliers, just grip the very end of those roll pins and just lightly insert them into those holes just to get them started. Once you've got them started, using that 2mm punch that we had previously, go ahead and lightly tap those in. There should be just a little nub showing on the back side of the trunnion. Then go ahead and lightly tap that in. Again, you should have just a little nub of that roll pin showing on the back side of the trunnion when you're done. Okay. Now here's where it's going to be important that we hold that ball valve in the open position, because when the handle's open, we want the valve to be open and we want it to be perfectly aligned with the waterway. The repair mandrel has 2 machine slots, obviously, so they can go around those trunnions as they go through the ball valve. So align those, inserting it into the valve. You may have to position the ball just a little bit to get it to go in there. Once that's in all the way, the ball is held open and the trunnion or the repair mandrel holds it in the valve body there for you. That's important because the next step, we're going to have to drill these trunnions to put the handle roll pins in. That's what causes the handle to engage the trunnions. So that holds it open while we hold the handle open. When we drill this, we want the handle to be in the open position, so it's best to hold the nozzle upside down on the workbench with the handle open. That keeps the handle in the full open position. On the back side of the handle, you'll see 2 little dimples molded into the handle. That's the point where you're going to drill. And when you're drilling these, as best you can, you want to keep it on a perpendicular line going through the trunnion of the valve. Okay, next we're going to drill through the trunnion so that we can insert the roll pins through the handle. To do this, we need a number 22 drill bit, and like I say, a cordless or corded drill motor is fine. We want to go as perpendicular through the trunnion as we possibly can. Dump the debris out. Good news, we're only halfway there. Once you have that debris out, go ahead and insert that roll pin. Just lightly tapping it in. And then you want that roll pin to be just below the surface of the molded handle on both sides. And now we're going to do the same procedure on the other side. Again, there's a dimple machine showing you the location to drill. Again, we're all the way through now. Dump out any little bit of debris. If you have some compressed air available to you, it's good to blow that out if you can. Again, insert that roll pin. Setting it just below the surface of the molded handle. At that point, you can clear some of the debris out of your way and remove that repair mandrel. Now the handle is engaged with the ball fully and should be operating with the handle. At this point, the handle portion is complete. We're going to put the rear valve seat back in. A little bit of silicone grease on both the O-rings. And then insert it into the valve body, pushing it fully forward till it seats against the valve ball. At this point, make sure there's no machining debris left from the previous steps, and then we're going to install the coupling, pushing it straight on. And to finish out the process, we're going to install the 26 ball bearings that were taken out previously back into the coupling. And this process is just a one by one insertion of the balls through the ball bearing port. It may be necessary to move the coupling a little bit just to help move those ball bearings around as you insert them. Number 25 and 26. Using your pointed pick, if you can, move those ball bearings just off to the side of that port plug hole. That makes room for the port plug to go in. The flat side should be out towards the valve body. The flared side goes into the valve body. Just push that in with your thumb. Make sure you got free movement of the coupling, and that's complete. Now after any repair, certainly to this extent, you should do a flow and pressure test of the nozzle. We do have instructions in our manuals at tft.com under the library section. You're going to specifically look for the G-Force manual. This one in particular will be contained in document number LIG-012. In that, you will find any testing procedures as well as specific part schematics that give all the part numbers for the items we use today. If you have further questions, don't hesitate to contact us. All of our contact information is on our website at tft.com. Thank you.